Hello, and welcome to Weed and Grub.
I think the lighter on audio is one of the most iconic sounds for me. I grew up listening to lighters. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I can hear that and just immediately know what I'm getting into. Yeah. It's so good.
It's so good. I really like these pre-rolls too. The is that one the lemon sour
This is the
diesel?
sativa, the LAKEGRADE sativa. Yeah, the lemon sour. Well, we were talking. What did we talk about last episode?
We talked about the sour diesel aspect of it.
Yeah, but this has a Kush mix.
Yeah.
For their sativa flow.
The lemon sour diesel is lemon OG Kush crossed with sour diesel to make lemon sour diesel. And these pre-rolls are great.
Magic. Mm-hmm. Well, wait. We gotta... wait. Why am I yelling wait. At you? Wait.
Slow down. You're going too fast.
Sativa makes my mind race, so I had 9 thoughts, and so I think the wait was my own subconscious telling myself to slow my roll.
Nice.
And I just yelled it at you because I don't know how to handle anything else. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
I don't mind being told to wait.
Wait.
Slow down.
I just was like, well, how about wait. So I have my thoughts together.
Okay.
We did get messages that people want to talk and learn and chat about strains.
Yeah.
And you did just write about Kush.
OG Kush, specifically. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so do you want to drop some knowledge my way while I hit this LAKEGRADE and say
Sure.
Okay.
I'll tell you the little bit I know, which is that OG Kush, so OG Kush is like the grandmother of a ton of West Coast weed cultivars. And cultivar is actually the proper word that you would use when you're referring to the genetics of like a strain. The cultivar is the plant.
Yes.
Right?
I've heard that before, and I didn't know what it meant the first time. Mm-hmm. And so I got upset because I got insecure that I didn't know what something was. So I was like, these guys are too uppity. And that was really just me not having the confidence to say, what does that mean?
It is referring to the specific strain of cannabis. The cultivar is the actual plant, and OG Kush is the genetic parent of a ton of the, like, everyone knows the West Coast Kush. Like, you know, it's been immortalized in a million songs.
Like when you say grandmother, you're talking about like that special sauce that has been passed down from generations from an Italian family.
I mean, it's a parent of Girl Scout cookies. It's a parent of headband. There are a bunch of different ways of expressing the OG Kush, like in the SFV OG, which is the San Fernando Valley OG, or
SPF.
Ghost OG. Sure. But, well, wait, like, I'll just tell you the little bit that I know, because I'm actually not mad knowledgeable about this stuff, but I just did do a little bit of investigating about OG Kush for an article that I was writing. And so it came to California from the East Coast, actually. It was there was a famous grower named Matt Bubba Berger.
Yeah, I love these stories.
Yeah, and he had crossed Chemdog, which is the famous strain that was popped from seeds that were in a bag at a Grateful Dead concert. So there's the Chemdog, and he crossed it with Hindu Kush, which is a landrace strain, that famous Hindu Kush, the super indica frosty landrace weed strain, and together that created what became known as the OG Kush. And the OG part of it is such an interesting thing because you think OG means, what does OG mean to you?
Original gangster, like the one that started them all.
Right. There are other theories about it floating around out there, though nobody really knows what the OG in OG Kush means. Original gangster, obviously. And then another theory is that it refers to overgrow.com, which was this famous weed website in the 90s, I think, that got shut down ultimately by
Sounds
Canadian
like Overgrow
authorities.
created that idea for themselves.
But the one that I actually believe in, because I remember Danny Danko telling me this years ago at High Times, he was like, nobody knows this, but OG refers to ocean grown, meaning that the best weed is grown near the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, because of the humidity and the salt levels and all that kind of stuff. That OG is ocean grown Kush.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to believe that one because
It's my favorite.
of how the world works together. Like the answers are all right here for us.
Yeah.
The puzzle pieces all fit if you let them be where they want to be.
Yep.
And so I would like to believe that it is ocean grown
Yeah.
because that makes sense.
That's my favorite part of the fairy tale.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Ooh, and that makes me think too, and this is I love that we start with LAKEGRADE and then we get to ocean grown.
Yeah.
We're on a path. We're on a path, Mary Jane.
We are on a path. I just realized that I just said yeah in the same way like 8 times too.
That's all right. I yelled wait at you. And
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Wait. Welcome to Weed and Grub, everybody.
Welcome to Weed and Grub, everybody. This is a podcast about cannabis, culture, cooking, calling shit out, and wishing we were doing ad libs for Migos.
Splash.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's all the knowledge that I have basically, but I do love it because it's such a fucking legendary strain, and just to know that it was like this, again, came to the East Coast with this one grower, or came from the East Coast with this one grower who then passed it to this other famous grower on the West Coast who goes by Josh D.
Josh D and Burger Matt.
Josh D and Matt Bubba Burger. And Matt Burger also, the Bubba comes from Bubba Kush. Everyone's heard of Bubba Kush. So he was behind that as well. So
what a legendary... You're one of the only people I can listen to talk about history.
that's because I'm all over the map, so you never know what's coming.
And it helps me pay attention because I'm right there with you with this fractal way of thinking. Because if it's too linear, I get bored within 10 seconds because TikTok has broken my fucking small mind that is not, conditioned for long-term focus.
I tell you what, there's one thing I'm not, and that's linear. I'm like a spirograph.
Yeah.
As a person, yeah, I'm all over the place. But, I always come back to the middle, just like a spirograph. I find my center. It's a metaphor for me.
Shout out to this sativa. I'm already having fun. Or shout out to you, too.
Thank you. Shout out LAKEGRADE.
Did you say thank you?
Thank you. Maybe. I don't know what I said.
You said thank you, and now you're just being nice to me.
Sure. I gotta support my partner, my podcast partner. I'll say yes and every time.
Thank you.
Always.
What else?
Well, I don't know. So many. I mean, listen, this app actually is so exciting, and we should just wait and chill in this moment because there's so much coming.
Oh, I like that. I like a good deep breath.
I don't know who tweeted that. I just read that yesterday. It was like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but unclench your jaw and take a deep breath.
I know who tweeted that, and I did it, and all my skin fell off my face.
Yeah.
Because it had been so tight around my eyes for so long that when I finally did let my muscles chill, they took a big rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel good?
I feel great. Thank you, Emma.
Emma. Oh, that was Emma.
Yeah.
That's right.
Doughboy's producer.
Emma.
Extraordinaire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great follow.
She's a real one. For real.
Well,
yeah.
thank you.
Like all my skin relaxed in a way that I felt like when the potion wears off on Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just holding up her melting skin. Mm-hmm. That's how it felt to relax for a moment.
Nice. I don't know if I like that way that sounds, but I hope it felt really good.
It felt great.
You probably looked real weird. I wasn't here, so I'm glad for that.
Do you know what your skull looks like?
I know I did a death mask when I was in theater school, which was my face cast in plaster.
Uh-huh.
So I have that.
That sounds rewarding because I don't trust mirrors. I would love to do a death mask to know what I actually look like.
Yeah, it's crazy because you don't look like you do in a mirror because you're seeing the opposite. It's flipped, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing anti-me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, and you're not symmetrical. That's the crazy thing.
Ouch. Mary Jane.
Well, I mean,
No,
you
just kidding.
are. You're very symmetrical. You're very handsome. The definition of beauty to many beholders is actually symmetry.
Yeah, my middle name's Fibonacci Spiral.
Okay. I'm a spirograph and you're a Fibonacci spiral. Yeah. No wonder we got along. In the middle, we're just a mandala.
Totally. Yeah, because you're like, and I'm like, and together we're a mandala. I love
nice.
that. How do I do a death mask?
Oh, I have no idea. It was like a special thing we did in theater school.
Oh,
I
it
don't
wasn't
even
like
remember.
plaster where you put straws up your nose and cover your face, almost like a prosthetic you see for a spooky movie or something like
Pretty
that?
much exactly that. And then they poured
Cool.
this crazy like agar rubber something over our face, and I had to sit there for a while until it, kind of firmed up, and then we peeled it off and poured plaster into it. It was a whole thing. I think there are like kits you can actually order online now.
I would love to have like a desk mat. Like we're already going to do vision board night
Yeah.
for 2021.
You wanna do death masks?
Yeah, let's do a death mask night too. That sounds fun as hell. Well, what do you do with it once it's out of the plaster and stuff? Do you have to decorate it?
I used it for mask making class. So then that was my face that I could use to mold everything onto to create all of the character masks. Like we did Commedia dell'arte character masks. So I made a character named Sealachino, who was Arlecchino, but a seal.
I studied Arlecchino.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I didn't know you did that too.
Yeah. 3 years of theater school, man. That was a big part of it, actually. It was one of my favorite parts.
Arlecchino's the funniest, coolest commedia character.
Yep, he's great.
Yeah.
He's, a little scamp. I can see that you would love to play Arlecchino. He actually wasn't my favorite to play. And I'm forgetting the name of the one that I did like, so don't put me on the spot.
Okay. Well, we can't talk about death masks forever. We have too much to do.
We can't talk about Commedia dell'arte in a weed podcast. Jesus. Everyone's like, shut up, get back to the weed.
I think I'm going to go do the New York Times crossword. It's a Saturday, and it's the hardest, but it's way better than this.
Sorry, everyone. Man, we have so much going on. Well, should we get to our news?
Yeah, let's get to our news.
Our Grub Gazette this week is actually a segment with a guest.
We are getting to host Emerge again, and if you know what Emerge is from checking it out earlier this year, it is a virtual cannabis conference. They asked us to come back as co-hosts, which is a dream come true, and we get to talk with Chuck Warner again, not only about Emerge, but about him, because he's such a beam of light. And we're going to drop a couple of contests and a couple of cool things on our Instagram and Emerge's Instagram leading up to the event on December 15th. But in the meantime, here is our cool news Grub Gazette interview with Chuck about Emerge. Mary Jane, do you want to say anything?
I just want to say come back because then afterwards we have so much more going on.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Yes, before we get to it, I didn't tell you, but my butt of the week this week is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to say it's the funniest thing I've ever seen from April of this year through today.
Okay, great.
It's unreal.
I can't wait.
Oh, I hope you like him. Okay, here's our interview with Chuck. We meet again. We emerge again. What's happening?
Hello, friends. How's it going?
Great.
Especially,
Jinx.
Jinx on you.
Jinx on you. Okay, you won. Go ahead.
You go first.
You go second.
No, you. Okay, I'll go second.
I'll go first. Emerge was so successful the first time around because it's not only is it revolutionary, but it's built for what humanity is going through right now. So what can we expect for the second Emerge? More exciting panels, great guests, award shows. I'm just kind of teeing you up to share exactly what the second one's going to be about.
Oh, I love it. It's great. So, going backwards to go forwards, remember we were trying to figure out a solution to a virtual event that could bring back some of what we really enjoy about real events. You know what I mean? Connecting was one of the most important things. We miss our friends. Learning, right? I mean, you get smart. You show up to some of these things. You listen to smart people talk. You can't help but get smart. And doing business, you've got those exhibitors there. You exchange business cards. Next thing you know, someone's calling you and you're doing some business. We wanted to simulate that as best as we could during these crazy times. And that's where Emerge came from, and the virtual reality platform, the avatars, all of that. So that part worked really well. And our speaker lineup was super diverse. It was just, as far as I'm concerned, most of the people really enjoyed it. They had a good experience. And we saw people on social saying like, oh, I saw him at Emerge, or yeah, I reconnected at Emerge. And we were like, mission accomplished. That's what we wanted, was to create an environment where, people could get back together and hopefully do some business. So we did that. And I think, now I may be a little bit biased, but I think we've got an even better lineup this time. I think we've got better speakers. I think that we've got better exhibitors. We have more partners. The USA CBD Expo said, let's be friends. And they've got 30 booths here. The Clio Awards said, you know what? We loved your platform. We can't do this on Madison Avenue in New York. We're going to do it here. So the Clio Awards are giving them out here. And then we even got the NCIA. One of the big themes of this is business, and they're coming on board as a partner, and those guys really know business. So we're just super excited about this. Like, I think that this is going to become a tradition, and I think that it's going to be something that we can look back on and say, hey, it wasn't like a real life event, but, it'll do in a pinch, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Can you say a little bit about who the keynotes are yet? I know you've announced a couple. I know David Crosby's coming. That's super exciting.
We've got David Crosby. We
Man.
have...
What the fuck?
Yeah, you really teed me up.
dope.
It's so exciting. He's so cool.
I know, right? Like, I mean, we got David Crosby. We've got Julian Marley. We've got a whole bunch of others. There's one... I can't tell you who it is yet. And this is going to sound like a big tease, because it really is. But stay tuned, follow on Emerge, and check it out. As soon as we can, we're going to release it. But we have a couple of super, super big names. You'll know them from, from cannabis, from entertainment, really from everything. And they're going to be here. In fact, even in avatar form, walking around, checking it out. So I can't spill the beans. I'm sworn to secrecy. But, oh, God, I want to tell you guys right now so bad. I want to tell you. But it's going to be super cool, I promise.
That's so great. Like, one of my favorite things was to stroll around in avatar form, exchange business cards. Like,
Change outfits?
Yeah, change outfits. I had like a day look and then an evening look. And then we ended up like seshing under the escalator with friends, like hanging out with Brad Bogus. And, it was just like such a really good time and a connected, awesome way to safely share all of the things that we love. So I'm so excited to be back.
Do you know that got turned into a meme? The smoke sesh underneath the escalators got turned into a meme, and they went and like took the comments from Twitter. And I don't know who did this. I don't even know if they're on my payroll, but it's amazing. And it's so funny because your avatars are there and they put in little smoke like coming out of their mouths underneath there. And that's just one of the great memories from the last Emerge.
I will be like, I'm going to have some great flour on hand. I'm going to have some great edibles on hand to enjoy during the conference. And just so excited to like hang and see everything that you've got going on. So thank you so much.
Can we start a new tradition? Like we had everybody smoking under the escalators last time. What do you think will be the new thing for Winter Emerge?
Is it the same venue? Are we in the same location?
Yeah.
Okay, I know where I want to go. There's an area that I couldn't find a way into, and I'm gonna crack the code.
You're gonna hack in?
Yep. There's a platform. There's a pink platform.
Yeah.
That I want to get to. It's
Oh,
sort of
that's
like
right. It was like
Cloud
beneath
City.
the Matrix. Yes.
Find me there at 420.
So I got to tell you, like on Facebook, there was a bunch of people talking about the event, and somebody was like, "Yeah, it was really weird. There were like two guys standing outside the glass, out in the air, staring at us, and like it was just kind of creepy." And I looked at it, and I was like, holy shit, that's Shane and Steven. Those are two guys that work for us. And I took a picture of that and I showed them, and I'm like, dude, people are talking about you guys because they did the same thing. They somehow figured out how to break the Matrix and go wherever they wanted. And the funny thing is when they did it, other people were in there in the auditorium looking out the glass at them. They were out there with the blimp, like just floating in space. It was funny as hell. And they took a picture of them.
It's the greatest.
Awesome. So, final moments. Where can everybody find Emerge? How can everybody be involved? What are the dates?
Yes.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yes. Okay, so December 15th, it's going to kick off. It will be running for 3 days. You can check out the agenda. You can get tickets at emergecanna.com. And I would encourage you, bring a friend. Like, it's a super fun thing to do with a friend. So get somebody, come and check it out. Now, after the event's over, so the first 3 days, the 15th, 16th, and 17th, the whole world is open. And so we'll have re-emerge events in there where we invite our sponsors and stuff like that to invite their friends. National Association of Cannabis Businesses actually had their diversity social equity day in there. And so they put up stuff. They had a couple hundred people. So basically it's open for 90 days. There will be little private functions going on in there. But when you buy one ticket to Emerge, you're good for 90 days. You can go to all the re-emerges. You can check out the content. If you miss some speakers like some people did, or if you have login issues getting in, don't worry, we'll have it there for you, and you can just pop back in at your convenience and cruise around in the world, create your avatar, and go check it out. You got 90 days.
So follow Emerge on Instagram at EmergeCanna.
Yes.
And the website is emergecana.com. Is that right?
Yes, emergecana.com, and we're on Twitter, Facey Space, all that stuff. So give us a follow, LinkedIn, whatever. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for this one. I think, I think we got a hit on our hands.
Yeah, we do. And keep checking back for when those super guest speakers finally drop. We'll be making an announcement. I can't wait to hear myself. So thank you so much for coming on and telling everybody about this super cool event coming up next week.
We'll see you there.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Yo!
I'm so excited, and I can't wait to hear who the very special, the VIB at Emerge is going to be. And as soon as we know, we will let all of you know. So follow Emerge at EmergeCana, and we're going to have that contest. And yeah, it's just going to be like a great time. I'm so excited to go next week.
I am too. Can I get to my butt of the week first?
Oh, yes.
I've been like Bubba Burger bursting to share this person with you.
Okay. This is fucking good.
My butt of the week this week. I don't know him at all. Mm-hmm. I've never met him, but he's such a funny comedian, and his name is Brendan O'Hare. Brend O'Hare on Instagram.
Okay.
Sorry.
Brendo. I don't know why that did.
Sativa's great because I'm like alert and awake and I like myself, but when it comes to like reading anything,
right?
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, maybe it's not it's not a reading thing for you so much.
Not anymore. So here's what Brendan did.
Okay.
Brendan went on Newt Gingrich's wife. What's her name? Camille?
Oh, Callista Flockhart? No, wait, what's her name? I can't remember her name. She has a name like Callista, though.
Callista. It's Callista Gingrich.
Yeah, see? I knew it.
So she always is posting like pictures of her and Newt. And it's like, me and Newt in Rome, me and Newt in Italy.
She looks like Mars Attacks to me.
She does look like Mars Attacks. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that weird blonde helmet. She's got like blonde helmet hair. Callista.
My name is Callista Gingrich.
Okay.
So she posted a sad looking picture of this lasagna, and it was like home cooking with Newt Gingrich, and Brendan went on it, and he wrote just one pic of Newt eating this, not a big deal, and he kept posting it on the lasagna, and then she kept deleting it. So he made a whole video like, Callista keeps deleting my comment where I'm asking to show a picture of Newt eating the lasagna, and then 400 people flooded Callista's Instagram and started like commenting, would love to see a pic of Newt eating this, and come on guys, let's see a pic of Newt enjoying that lasagna, let's see him tackle that bad boy, gotta see Newt try this. And so Brendan created this whole like night of viral fun where everyone was commenting on Callista Gingrich's lasagna picture, requesting a pic of
my God.
Newt eating it.
Can you post this but with Newt eating it? Hi, Callie. Newt's lasagna mouth, please. I think it would be really nice to see Newt eating this. This is fantastic. This is what the internet is for. This is how everything should work. This is absolutely fucking fantastic. Holy smokes. And it's at Callie Gingrich. Oh, it's in Rome, Italy. That lasagna is also like, what the fuck is this picture?
Yo, that is not well made.
That is some sad ass lasagna. It's all like, it's not holding its form. It looks dry and wet at the same time in an unappetizing way. And the plate looks cold.
Just like,
she didn't eat this lasagna. That's a stock photo of some bad lasagna. Jesus Christ, that's amazing. Brenda O'Hare.
Yeah, so shout out to Brendan O'Hare. And
wow,
man, just hop on her Instagram and you'll see the lasagna. Just give it a click and a read.
Callie. I'm excited for my butt of the week because I'm about to hang out with them. Like, in fact, we need to finish up recording so I can go and do this because I'm going to be doing a class with Chef Nikki Stewart at the Chef Nikki, Nikki. Nikki Stewart is a chef and cannabis educator who hangs out with Chappelle in Ohio, and I believe may even be a personal chef for Dave Chappelle.
Yo, you're cooking with them today?
Yeah, I've got a baking class, a virtual baking class that was set up by Weed Maps, and they sent over everything I need. So I have all of the ingredients. I have rosin capsules. For the first time, I'm going to be cooking with rosin capsules.
I didn't even know those existed. And
yeah.
Okay, what are you making?
Apple cinnamon blondies.
Ooh, I'll be diving into that.
With caramel sauce.
God damn.
Excited. It's so good. I have everything. They sent over from apples to fucking weed. I have it all. how do you like them apples? And then I'll feed you a blondie afterwards.
Please do.
Yeah.
Shoot it across the room into my mouth with a slingshot.
Yeah, I got to get a rubber band. But anyway, at the Chef Nikki, I'm so excited to hang and like learn about making infused food with rosin capsules and just like all of the fucking cool stuff. Like what a cool hang. What a cool virtual holiday hang.
That's what it's all about.
Right?
There's answers. There's answers out here.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And that's a good tie into our cool virtual holiday hang with our guest.
RVIB, our very important bud, Lindsay Collins.
Yes.
Yes. Effin B Radio, new friend, thanks to some other friends in South Carolina, Mari and Henry. Shout out to both of you for connecting Lindsay and us.
Yay.
She's cool as hell.
She's fucking cool as hell. We had such a good time on her pod, Effin B Radio, just talking about us all the time, and she totally buried the lead at the like very near the end of our episode on Effin B Radio. She was like, when I was working at NOMA, we were like, what?
At NOMA?
What's happening right now? So we had to have her on Weed and Grub to tell us about her life. And then at the end of it, she still dropped knowledge that we still don't know about.
It's very frustrating when your friends hold secrets from you, like what Thomas Keller is like, and why I love to make meatballs that look so delicious on my Instagram. And also, I went to Berkeley School of Music. We don't have to talk about that. What are you talking about, Lindsay?
Lindsay, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It was such a fucking hang, and I mean, I think we're just going to end up cross-potting a whole bunch.
Would that be funny?
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
We'll just be on her show every other week, and then she'll be on our show every other week.
Oh, wait, are we lemon OG Kush or are we sour diesel?
Oh, sweet. I would want to be the sour diesel component for the New York love.
Okay, cool.
She's the lemon OG Kush to our sour diesel to make lemon sour diesel.
Fuck yeah.
I like that.
That's what's up. All right. Without further ado, here's our interview with
Lindsay Collins. Hey, Mike, have you heard about AMMA Elevate?
I have, but I want to hear you say it.
Okay, it's the world's first hemp elixir. AMMA makes the highest quality hemp products that allow you to be your best self naturally.
You want me to be a good me?
Naturally.
Yeah, AMMA is that. Anytime I'm striving for self-actualization, if I can put organic things in my body, that is the way I'm going to get to the top of that pyramid.
That's awesome. AMMA's got you too. You can mix AMMA Elevate into your drinks for a mood-enhancing effect with or without alcohol.
Also, AMMA is an A, which is a pyramid, and an M, which is a pyramid. I'm a little bit high right now, but I'm thinking in terms of my connections that I make for things I like. Yeah, and it's a pyramid product.
It's also a palindrome.
Oh, I love that.
It's a pyramid palindrome. AMMA organic plants are sustainably grown without pesticides or chemicals, and the state-of-the-art extraction process uses the most sophisticated technology to create cold-pressed juice from hemp.
It's so dope. I'm looking at their starter pack right now. I've got hemp elixir. I've got nano soft gels. So fun. I've never tried a nano soft gel, so I'm going to dive into that. There's a eucalyptus and lavender salve. Ooh, my lips are going to be good because the winter is not for them. And they've got a mint hemp oil. Everything you need is right here. Everything I need is right here. I should take more ownership of myself.
AMMA Elevate has everything you need. You can go to ammahealing.co for more information. That's AMMA healing.co. AMMA, all bliss, all buzz. No booze, 0 calories, no hangover. Add AMMA Elixir Elevate to any beverage just in time for the holidays. Happy holidays, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho.
I'm so excited to be having this conversation with you. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, guys. Can I just say before we get started that I'm like more nervous now to be on Weed and Grub than I was to have you on my show, because I've since A, gotten to know you better, and B, learned about all of the things that you've done. And then I texted Mike after we hung up the next day, and I was like, I feel like I'm in a spiral of shame because I didn't understand the magnitude of how awesome you guys were. And I wish I would have talked about your careers more on my show. So thank you for having me. I'm nervous.
I think that's like the flow. It's a Mobius strip flowing right back into you because we were on your show and you dropped the lead so hard. You buried the lead
You dropped it and then buried it.
You dropped it and buried
and then
it.
covered it up
6
and then
feet under.
Yeah,
like
put a tree
45
on top of
minutes
it.
in, you were like, anyway, when I was at NOMA, and we were like, wait, what? And you were like, yeah, Renee Redzepi. And we were like, wait, what? No, stop. Stop. What are you talking about? Why are we talking?
No.
We need to hear from you.
No.
Everything, all the things. So
this podcast is about you.
This
So strap in.
it's let's hear all of everything from the beginning.
From the very beginning. Well, people's lives are so long that I never know like exactly how to do that. But I think the important like highlights of my life to know about me that kind of make me who I am in this world. I mean, all of the experiences, but the major ones are that I have only ever worked in food and beverage. That's the only job I've ever had, except for a brief summer as a lifeguard. But I was also working at a restaurant. It was just a second job. So that's important to know about me. I was homeschooled, which is important to know about me. And I'm like a total theater kid, which is important, I think. And then now I have 3 kids, and I've worked in a bunch of different restaurants, a lot of them very good ones. Like you were saying, NOMA, the French Laundry, per se, and then some not good ones too. And I love them all the same. There's just been so many. In fact, between when I left the French Laundry, I went and worked at one of the weirdest like restaurants in the whole world. It was a steakhouse that was like so cheesy that I wore one of those like polyester shirts with the Prime. It had the Prime like steakhouse stamp where it looked like it was grilled onto a piece of meat, like on my shirt with my name on it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I was pregnant and they wouldn't get me the right size. So it was just like, you could see my stomach under the shirt. And I had just left the French Laundry and like was at the top of my career. And then I ended up in this steakhouse in Aiken, South Carolina. And I loved that fucking restaurant too. I loved working there. And I learned a lot from the dude that ran it, who was kind of an ex-mafia type named Randy. And it's like we were making salads in a cooler, like mixing them with our hand. Like it was just such a weird like fall from grace in a way that I was like, you're just never above anything. You might think you've gotten somewhere, but you just don't know where you'll end up. So it's been a very wild ride, but yeah, I love restaurants and I love food, and I just kind of have made it my whole life's work, and I've worked in them all, great and bad ones, and I have good stories from all of them. So
one of the best experiences I've ever had was when I was having such a good time at this restaurant, and the people I was with, the company, the whole hang was so good, but we never realized that our waters kept being filled, and we never realized that plates were disappearing. Like the flow and the mix between the people who were working there and ourselves created one of those just memorable moments where you were just in the fucking pocket the whole goddamn time, and then we left floating on air with full bellies and happy smiles. It was incredible.
Those kind of experiences are like that's kind of what makes you want to just keep trying to hit that same spot again, because if you've ever been able to facilitate an experience like that for someone, it feels so good for the team that's doing it as well. Like you kind of like, in a weird selfish way, you kind of get off on being like, I know how to make these people, like how to facilitate this crazy time and not be in their way. And it really is kind of an art on both sides. You have to have people who are good guests, but you also have to have the staff like doing that dance that you talk about, where like you don't really notice that they're there, but it's, I don't know, like everything is thought of before you think you need it. It's already been thought of, and they've done it. It's masterful to watch.
I love that so much. I think my favorite part of working in any of the restaurants I worked at was when I would get to bartend at a nicer restaurant. I worked at a place called Flying Fish in Seattle as a bartender, which is where I learned the most. I think I learned about any kind of like service and wine. And then I also got to work at Cafe Luxembourg in New York.
Love that place.
And such a good place with like great lighting, I think, first and foremost. Like everyone looks good in there, and it's super low key. So like the celebs are just feeling like it's an easy hang, and it's a neighborhood bistro. It's not like a place where anyone goes to be seen. So it's very chill. And doing that dance, that ballet behind the bar, which was always just me and one other person, was like so satisfying at the end of the night to have someone like happily drunk and full of, you know, confit or whatever it was, and like, you know,
Pink
leaving you
squirrel.
some like crazy tip, and you're like, thank you so much.
It really is.
Or not, you know, or not. There were always the regulars who were like also just there to like, it was just a pleasure to, you know, wait on them and hang. Like, I don't know,
I'd yell
I
at
miss
them.
it.
I'd get fired right away.
I mean,
there's
there's like that one guy who would always show up on Friday night at like 8:45 and post up at the bar and take a like highly desired seat and drink a seltzer, and you're like, no,
Hate
Norman,
you.
please go away.
Come on,
You close
Norman.
at 9?
No, he would like take up the seat for the prime dining hour.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
because he was just lonely. It was, yeah, but you know, that's part of it too. Like, that's part of it too. You're there for those people as well.
It always makes me laugh because after all of the years of like mostly waiting tables, I worked in the kitchen off and on in some places, but that wasn't my strong suit. I'm like much better in the dining room, and I always used to like get really stoked when I would get a huge tip because it's such a like adrenaline rush, and you feel like you've just like robbed a bank or something. You're like, why do I have so much money for this like same thing I do every night? And then you would get like a shitty tip from someone or a tip that you didn't deserve, and you would be like, it all just kind of evens out in the end. I never got like, there was never one year where I made more money. There would be like months where I got like fat tips and months where I got shitty tips, but in the end, it's kind of like, it all just evens out. So Norman, even though he's there, just killing a seat. And at a bar, that's a big deal because you don't have it's not like you have a section with all these different tables and potentially different party sizes. Like, you have a set number of seats that can make money. But Norman, you know, he's compensated by the other people who hook you up. So it's for everybody, as you say.
Fuck that. No, it needs to be taught in school. Like, there needs to be an etiquette in public class that teaches you about how the service industry works, how eating out works, treating people with respect, tipping, and how to do the math to figure out at least 20%. Like, this needs to be taught in school so that human beings realize what it's like to be alive.
I think
it's not okay. Fuck Norman.
Norman sucks, but also if Norman had worked in a restaurant, Norman wouldn't do that. I always say that everybody it should be required that they go work in a restaurant before they can graduate high school, is my feeling, because I'm like, you can't learn it in a class. You have to literally observe people and be like, some people are devoid of empathy. So even if you explain to them that you're fucking me over. I have 3 kids, man. And they don't care because they're like an old, you know, curmudgeon that's been alone their whole life. And they're like, well, what about me?
Mm-hmm. Totally. I think that is really it's the only way to ever educate someone on how to treat waitstaff is to make sure that they
have done it.
Do it. They've just done it. Yeah. And I think there is like a special kind of bar diner too, for the most part, even if they haven't worked in the restaurant world. For the most part, I always found the bar diners to be like really great tippers and really generous people, because for more often than not, they just wanted to be left the fuck alone. And they're so excited that you're helping them just like eat their dinner and get kind of lit and then go home. They're not trying to have some kind of like whole, you know, experience like I feel like people are often looking for from being seated in the restaurant.
Yes.
And so they all more than made up for Norman, who was like the one kind of lonely guy who also was like, you know, just like really looking for human connection. So.
Why are you defending
Because Norman is me. We are all Norman in this goddamn pandemic.
It's so true.
I am Norman.
But Norman people, I'm going to start a show. It's going to be a hit. It's about some kids in Scotland that take up
Normans and Karens.
Yeah. That take up seats at bars on Salty Water. Yeah, no, there's always that person that you're like, why do you keep coming back here? The regulars that complain constantly, bitterly, like, I'd always be like, why are you here?
Does stuff like that happen at NOMA or the French Laundry? Because I feel like the mythology, not only around those chefs, but around that night and that experience where you may only get to be there one time in your whole life, do people still fuck up so bad that they like lose their edge even though it's so special?
Oh, yeah. I think even more. One thing, like the main problem I had fitting in there was, or I guess the biggest learning curve was trying to make people feel comfortable. Just the dining room is a scary fucking place. It's like intimidating. There's so much pressure, like you say, this is maybe the only time they're going to eat there, or a lot of people are trying to are overextending. You know, this is like more money than they can really afford, so they get in there. And then they start understanding the gravity of the price. And there's fights that come up, or you can see insecurities happen in people immediately where they kind of shut down, like, is this for a glass? And then they're like, you know what I mean? And they get mad. And
that's happened to me before, sure, for sure.
You feel stupid, or you feel like it's out of your reach, even though you're here and you're like wanting to have a good time. So there's a lot of like, I think the training, and when you see people there that are front of house, and at NOMA, the chefs run the food. So they get involved in the experience, which is really fun. But yeah, people fuck it up all the time. I think because the expectations are so high. But it's you knock it out of the park more than you fuck it up, I think, because most people, once they're there and once they settle in and they get a drink in them and the magic starts to happen, they will lose that. But initially coming in, you get some really frantic anxiety from people either feeling like they don't know what to do or that they're doing something incorrectly. And once a lady came in, and she was stunning, but she had to walk up 3 little steps and she fell in front of the whole dining room. And like her face, she just like wanted to dissolve into tears, and like everybody turned and stared, and then they turn away, but it's like too late. And she was so devastated, and just like I like ran over and grabbed her because everybody just was standing there like an asshole. And I like helped her up, and through like being silly or comedy or like something like fuck all these people, just like come on. And she laughed, and like she ended up, it was the first time I ever got palmed money, but when she left, she palmed me $100 bill, and I was like, oh shit. Wow, because I just was the only person there who didn't look at her and make her feel like, oh my God, what an idiot. Because they do. It's a really intense place to be.
Yeah, that's so wonderful that you did. I bet she still thinks of you fondly,
I hope so, because I still think of her all the time. I'm always like, she was so brave, because that's a tough crowd to fall in front of. Falling anywhere sucks, but falling in that setting, like when you're just walking to your table, it's like, God damn.
Yeah. The only way to recover from that is to pop back up and be like, yeah, to make a moment of it. I don't even know.
Show them
man.
all your
Wow.
panties. Just like, just fuck them.
Fuck them all. Fuck them all.
Oh man.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'm thinking about, okay, there you are. I'm thinking about wanting to talk about the food, about working with these chefs, and I'm also thinking about some of my biggest pet peeves I have as a diner in a restaurant, and I'm not sure which place to go because you've got me kind of giddy about all of it.
Oh, I want to hear your pet peeves.
Okay, it's 2.
Okay.
I have 2. And let me preface this by saying that I am fun, okay? Like, I'm a good
Despite the Roomba comment.
Yeah.
I mean, the weed helps, always.
You're a fucking
Right?
blast.
Yeah.
You're a blast.
I'm fucking fun. Just like follow these small rules.
Yeah.
And we'll get through it. We'll get through it together.
It'll be fine. It's going to be fine.
I don't like people who, once they get 2 or 3 drinks in them, they don't realize how loud they are.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they're not being loud at all. But to me, a table at a restaurant is for whispering intimately and having conversations. It's not for talking at a normal volume. And I get really self-conscious when people can cut through the atmosphere of the whole fucking place. I need them to not do that, even especially if they're at my table. It drives me crazy. 2 or 3 drinks in, and the volume just like gets up there a bit.
What do you do when someone at your table is that? Do you tell them that they need to lower their voice, or do you like ask them, or like do you just sit there and squirm uncomfortably until it's over?
Every single fucking time I've said, can you please talk quieter? It hasn't gone well, and it ruins the mood of the night.
Yeah. But at the same time, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's horrifying. Not only for the people at your table, it's bad for everybody because it rips everybody out of their own little special experience that they're having. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, being in the middle of sex and like a kid knocks on your door or like the mailman shows up and like, you know what I mean? Like you just, it's like, fuck, that just totally ripped me out. I was in a place.
Or your kid brings the mailman in.
Yeah. Or your kid is a mailman and then here he is and he's got the fucking package and he lives there. It's insane. But it's like, it sucks. And I've told people they have to lower their voice. And I think in your situation, that would be nicer than your friend having to tell you, because then at least it's this, it's the establishment and they can be like, fuck this place or whatever they want to say. But they've been kind of, brought back down by being like, no, it's not just me, your friend, that's feeling embarrassed. You're literally ruining everyone's time, because they are. I completely agree with that pet peeve. I don't think. Now I do like a laugh. I like a jovial place. I don't want it to feel like a morgue, but I don't think people should talk too loudly. And actually at Per Se and at the French Laundry, I don't know if you've eaten there, but there's no music in the dining room. So it is a weird fucking thing to get used to. If you've worked in a place that's like every other restaurant that does play music. So you walk in there and it's just like, you're like in a cathedral and it's like, why is it so quiet? So it's
the NoHo Star where I worked in New York didn't have any music because it was a cavernous space, and the owner just hated the way that the music was like a cacophony with any of the other sounds of the restaurant going on. Mm-hmm. And it was intense because you could hear you could be it was like when you go into cathedrals and you whisper into one wall and someone can stand on the other side. And it was like that.
Yes,
you can hear everyone's secrets. You can hear that couple divorcing at table 32 or whatever. It was like it's fucking insane. It's intense. And someone being super loud and like, especially if they're being loud about something personal, that's tough. I remember there was a very famous Real Housewives member who came in and needed everyone to know that she needed a tampon, and we were all like, she asked every every female waitstaff member. She asked the hostess. She asked everyone. She was like, just like the stage whisper, and we were all like, we get it, you're still menstruating, we all get it.
She's like, I still got all my ovaries in case anybody cares.
We were like, oh god,
shit,
please.
Still a breeder.
Yeah.
Wow. Just the garbage.
So intense.
I know.
Garbage.
Hot
garbage.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible. But it is, I think you're right. And especially if it's because they're drunk. Some people are loud talkers. I have a loud voice, but I can control it. But if it's because they've been drinking too much, I'm like, this is on you. If you're not just a person that scream talks and it's because you're inebriated beyond, and that's another I want to hear your next pet peeve, because that is one that I hate. When being out with someone that just fucking makes an ass of themselves is really, the older I get, the more I just can't stand it. I'm like, unacceptable. Like, I want to have a good time, and I like to drink and I love to like get down, but there's been just one too many times where people take it too far and you're like, this isn't that kind of place. It's not a bar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why I'll get to my other pet peeve in a second, but that's why I really love going to a fancier place with you, Mary Jane, is because we can get the wine pairings with it. And I know that I'm in good company of someone who knows how to handle those wine pairings. And we're not going to go into one time, and I'll leave them nameless and I'll keep the story brief. But I went to a Jose Andres restaurant.
Wow.
And we got the wine pairing, and we just did the main menu, and they got so hammered and so full that afterwards they were like, I want to smoke a cigar. And then they just puked in the bushes, all 32 courses and 18 wine pairings. And that was the end of the night. And I was like, yo, never again.
Dude.
Goodbye so much. And so it's a joy when you can find that person that can drink with you, eat with you, and not do that.
Well, and word to the, if you haven't ever experienced a long tasting menu, you cannot finish the glass. Usually, I can't. The last time I ate at Per Se, I don't know if she'll ever listen to this because I don't know. But my sister came with me, and she's an incredibly she's not the opposite of me. She's put together, she's calculated, she's just all of these things. She's blonde and beautiful and does not have outbursts under any circumstance, kind of a shy person. And she had the wine pairings, and because I had worked there, we were 20 something courses in. Like it was so long, and everybody was like drinking so much, but I would only take a sip, and then kind of like they were laughing because I had this like rainbow of glasses that I wouldn't let them take away because I just loved the way they looked and I wanted to keep smelling them, but I didn't want to drink them all. She was drinking hers because they were kind of just little tasteful pours for each course, but the courses were so many. By the end, like, I hope this isn't offensive to anybody. It's not. I don't think it's cool that she said it. In fact, it was horrifying. But she's like called someone a fucktard, and I was like, Haley, what? And it was just like she was saying something like trying to be supportive about someone who had been mean to me, and she's like, whatever, he's just a, and then just like yells this out in the dining room, and I was like, wanted to die inside. Like I was like, oh my God, how did we get here? Like, why would you say that? But she had just like later the next day, she changed her flight, left early. She was in New York to go to a friend's wedding and like just was so catastrophically hungover. She was like, I shouldn't have had all the wine pairings. I was like, I know, boo, you fucked up real bad. And now I can never go back there, unfortunately. But yeah, it was super uncool. So don't drink them all. Don't drink the whole thing. It's meant to be a taste with the food, unless you're like a pro and you know you can handle it. And then by all means, go.
There's only like 100 of those people on the entire planet, though. I feel like,
yeah,
maybe you're one of them.
I'm not. I truly am not. Like I would have been asleep. And you see people throw up all the time. Honestly, not from drinking too much, but from the food.
Yeah.
That was a very common thing to have people vomit at the table.
At like French Laundry and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, specifically French Laundry and per se, because the courses are so many. Like not really I've never seen anybody throw up at like a regular like restaurant, but those restaurants, people vomit.
One time I made my friend laugh so hard at the pasta house in St. Louis that fettuccine came out of his nose, and then he puked a little bit into his hand.
That's amazing. Oh my God. It actually like came out. It was suspended between his sinuses and his mouth.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Ew.
Wow. That's
oh shit.
Must have been a good joke.
Brandon Dodds.
Shout out.
Brandon.
Hey, what up, Brandon? My whole joke was every time he would take a bite, I would hold my hand over his plate of food and not say anything. And I just kept doing it all night long. And he knew I would do it. And I would do it and not break conversation.
Hilarious.
And he just lost it. And he honked it up and then puked a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That felt pretty good for you,
It was a great bit. Yeah, I was real happy with that.
That's a real good bit. I like that a lot. Oh my God. Yeah, no, throwing up at the table it's hard to deal with because the people around you are like, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fucking 9 sticks of butter.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yep. Gross.
Okay. Well, okay. So my last pet peeve before we get into food, and you're an amazing cook, and the chefs you've worked with, and I feel like we're burying the lead on our fucking podcast now, the same way we did on yours.
No.
I don't like the person in my group that feels the need to talk to the server every time they come by. It drives me fucking crazy. Like they have to ask a weird question that nobody gives a shit of an answer to, or they have to be like, hey, what kind of a carrot is this? Like, and nobody's interested, and they just feel this compulsion to make another statement in connection with the server every goddamn time.
Is this a particular person you're talking about?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a very specific pet peeve. But actually not that, I mean, I'm kind of wondering if you're talking about me, but I over-identify with the staff and try to be, I'm that asshole that tries to be like the cool person to wait on, not in like, I want them to think I'm cool, but like, then I'm thinking of them, that I'm knowing how to stack my plate, that I'm not putting my, you know what I mean? I try to be savvy, but I don't know that I don't specifically try to talk to them. I do thank them more than I see my companions thanking them. And I don't know if that's my own, like, again, over identifying, but I'm just like, some people, when they just want to talk to you is when you're the server, it can get awkward because then there's like this expectation that gets built up every time where you're like, please don't break. You're in the middle of a conversation and you're just stopping to like have a sidebar with me. You know what I mean? I see what you're saying, how that is fucking obnoxious, and it is impossible to keep up that level of attention to the server because they're there all the time. So then you're just going to spend the whole meal being like, oh, that's so cool. Now tell me about these Thumbelina carrots. Like,
Yo, thank you for seeing me.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. It's annoying.
What's your policy, or what's your take? How do you feel about the hunker down? The tableside hunker down.
What do you like squatting down by your table?
Yeah, how do you?
I feel like this is a loaded question, but I absolutely under no circumstances would ever hunker down by a table. Like, I just think to me it's like we're not at a Chuck E. Cheese. We're not at a Ruby Tuesday or whatever the fuck, an O'Charlie's. Like, anybody that like puts the menus in their armpit, like, I'm just very aware of like the things that I touch in their space as the diner. Like, that's their sacred space, and like popping down to like get on their level is creepy.
Popping on down. I had a right before the pandemic hit, I had a server pop on into the banquette and sit next to me while he took my order, and I was like, you are a serial killer. Get away. I will call the police on you.
They popped into your banquette?
Popped in too, and I was like, I'm seriously gonna cut you.
That's fucked up.
Away from me. It was so crazy.
That's insane.
It was so crazy.
If we ever get to taste your food, and whether it's just like a little joint beforehand or you ended up like diving into the edibles market yourself, like, holy smokes, you're so talented. So I'm really hoping to combine weed and grub and experience it with you sometime.
I would love that so much. And thank you for the nice words, because I just really love, when I was talking to you guys, I'm like, to talk to people who truly do love food and cooking and eating specifically, because some people love cooking but don't necessarily love eating, and I've never understood that. There are chefs that just like, they cook amazing stuff and they eat garbage. Like, it's weird that those people exist. But you guys seem to truly have an appreciation. I'm like, we definitely could combine powers, and I would be so excited to do that.
Let's fucking do it. Effin B WG.
Effin B meets WG in a pop-up. We can do a pop-up.
Let's do a pop-up
next summer. That
Not a pop down though. Nobody's popping down.
No popping down.
Just pop-ups. I'm popping down. I only pop one direction, and that's up.
Fucking great.
Could we do like a rapid fire?
Yeah.
Because I'm bursting to talk about all these chefs and all of the food and restaurant. And then if within the rapid, I don't know why I'm all ruly today. Sorry, everybody.
No, I like it.
It's been a long day, but...
It's hot, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I'm into it. It's keeping me going.
If within the rapid fire there's any great stories or it makes anyone think of anything, like, I don't want to steamroll through something that could be juicy and fun, like a nice peach tart,
Okay.
Ooh. All right. So starting with per se French Laundry and Thomas Keller. Is he the kind of person that is testing you at all times and you don't even know he's testing you to see if you can stay there? Because he seems patient and calm, but very sneaky and calculated.
Oh my God. I mean, first of all, you are so astute, because I don't know if you met him, because that's a really accurate description of how he is. He's almost like, I equate it to like when I've never met the Pope, but the way people feel about the Pope when he walks into a room where you're just like, and he is quiet and he is extremely calculated. But yes, he is always testing you. When the time that I worked at the French Laundry, I was studying to be a chef de partie, but I was a commis, which chef de partie is just a line cook, but commis is like a prep cook. And so I was making pasta dough, and I'm kneading the pasta dough by hand, and I'm at the back door, like on a little station, and he comes in the morning, and he's like putting on his apron, and he walks up and he sees that I'm there, and I just moved from New York. So he's like, oh my God, Lindsay, you're here. He's so kind. Like he always shakes in with every single member of the staff. And that's kind of universally, like I learned that from him, and I do it now. And it's been weird to see this ripple effect. Like if you start doing it, everybody will start doing it. You shake in and you shake out when you leave to let people know that you're there. But he shook in and was like, hi, chef. And I didn't even realize what was happening, but all of a sudden the pasta dough wasn't in my hands anymore. It was in his. And he was turning it and talking to me. He never looked, he never mentioned the dough, but he's feeling it in between his fingers. And I suddenly, like horrified, realize he's got my dough and he's testing it to make sure it's okay. But he's talking to me about something completely different. We're just chatting away, like about really mundane stuff. And he's very intimidating, but also very kind. And he put the dough back and was like, nice pasta dough, chef, and just walked away. And I, like, my whole body just was like, oh God, okay. I passed it, because I have heard and I've seen him very rarely lose it on people, but it's not nice. There's this urban legend of a guy that was working Canapé Station, which is the hardest station to work. They do oysters,
pearls and oysters, or whatever it's called.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oysters and pearls. They do all of the small first bites, so they just get hammered in the beginning because all of the tasting menus come in, and everybody needs a first course, and it's a very delicate. It's not putting a salad on a plate, It's like cannelling caviar and poaching oysters, and it's really intense. And so this guy just has some sort of he gets totally overwhelmed. And he passes out. He loses consciousness.
Oh my God.
And he's on the floor, and Thomas just turns over, steps over his little lifeless body, and is like, and now I have to do your job too. And was just like, somebody else like pulled him away, like screeched his dead body out of there. He wasn't really dead. He was fine. He was just, He had a panic attack.
Yeah.
And Thomas never missed a beat to be like, are you okay? Like, somebody get this guy some water. He knew that would be taken care of, because the way they set those kitchens up, like there's a million like people that are in line to do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's always testing you, and he's always making like it's the quality of what's going out over anything else every single time. So it doesn't matter if he liked me. We were very, very good buds, but he just never just having a conversation with you. There's always, especially if you're involved with the food at the time. Like if you talk to him outside of work, actually very laid back. Like he likes to have a cigar, and you'll see him strolling around Yountville, having a couple drinks. Once he bummed a cigarette from me, and I was like, "You smoke?" And he was like, tonight." He was having fun, and he's very, very much, but not when it's business. Business and pleasure are two different things, and that guy never fucking misses.
God damn.
The show must go on.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Makes me nervous talking about it, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. When you're working at that level, like you don't want them to see if that person on the floor is okay. Like why would the greatest, like Yo-Yo Ma's not going to put down his cello and ask if that first violinist needs to be, a fainting couch.
Nope.
Get out of here. Like I'm here being the greatest in the world. So
and that is one of the this is kind of a funny tie into NOMA, and this is not a rapid fire. Sorry, I'm worst at rapid fire. We can move on if you'd like.
It's a rapid one.
It's a rapid one question.
Fuck. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. Anyway, that was one of the things that I learned at that thing in those restaurants was. It sounds selfish, but you have to never falter at your job. It's team minded, but the reality is your job and what you do is an integral piece in a puzzle that has to be perfect. And so you can't really stop to help someone else necessarily. I mean, if you're good and you got it like that and you got the time, yeah, but you won't ever have the time because the standards are so impossible. Never.
Yeah.
You can really only do your job.
If you're in the corps de ballet, you don't stop the dance to help your fallen comrade. You just keep going.
He steps in to do the canapé job because now he can't do his own job. So
yeah, and low key, I would be hoping somebody does pass out so that I get my shot. because I've been like hanging out,
Nefarious.
fucking waiting. And now I'm like, thank God, like, let me show you what I can do. You know, it's cutthroat, you know,
Yeah, dude.
people, it's a sacred gig. If you get a gig in a place that everybody else wants, I want you to low-key kind of fail. I will never make you fail, but I want you to, so that I can step up and shoot my shot.
That's right. And that's really the only way. I joke about it, but it's not a joke. I'm like, I was never a captain there because those people have to die. They don't give up those jobs.
It's like late night writers, if you're listening.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it is. Like there's some dirt that goes on trying to get those jobs because like you can move into many other like satellite positions, but you'll never get a captain's job there because those people don't fucking leave.
Okay, rapid fire.
Sorry.
Worst thing. No, I'm coming at you with a hot second question.
We should do a new podcast called Rapid Fire, and it's
slow.
Just not
very
rapid
slow.
at all.
It's just a lot of slow questions. Worst thing that was ever said to you in the kitchen or in the restaurant?
Worst thing. Oh, this is, you know, this one is very funny, but not very funny. It's kind of sad. My first restaurant job ever. It was in my little town, and the chef was she was probably 43, black woman, and she was spieling the menu, and she was like, and we have collard greens on the menu, and I, out of the side of my mouth, was like, ugh, collard greens smell like ass. And she was like, she turned to me, like, didn't miss a beat. And she was like, how you know what ass smell like? You had your head up in somebody's ass? You nasty little, like, she just like told me off in front of the whole fucking staff. And then at the end was like, get your ass back here, and made me try them. And then she was like, and they were amazing. I mean, they were literally, like benchmark best collard greens I've ever had in my life. And she was like, don't ever disrespect my food like that. And I was like, yes, Deirdre. And we ended up being the best of buds. Like I would go to her house, and she and I would smoke weed together, and she was one of my safe spaces. But an amazing chef, and literally takes zero shit from 15-year-old me.
Wow.
Holy shit.
I've never been ripped up like that before.
Oh man. Okay, my turn. Mm-hmm. Cool. I like this game. This is fun. Rene Redzepi and NOMA is. So I'm gonna guess what Rene is like to keep this going.
Oh my god! I hope you can get it.
He to me seems so up in his head at all times that he's kind of almost barely tethered to this planet, because he's always thinking about foraging and what the menu could be, and he's kind of almost aloof, but he has such a strong team around him that he's able to be such a dreamer, because he knows how to cast a supporting cast that is just bomb.
I mean, that's pretty close. He is like that, and he's definitely one of the more, and I think in general, the people of Copenhagen, just to throw a blanket on them, that place is more magical and kind of witchy. Like they're open to, I don't know, there's just a lot of folklore there, and the way that they respect where they live, and the thing, they literally eat tree bark, and Rene is a pioneer in that way, and just like doesn't he's anti like luxury. Like we got into not a fight, but like a debate, because he was just basically taking a shit on how lazy it is to use luxury items and say that that's like the best that there is. You know what I mean? Like saying that caviar, and well, of course it's delicious, it's fucking rare, and it's fancy, and it's expensive, but can you take something that's less so? And so he's definitely out there. He is aloof. And at the time that I was there, they had won the best chef, like they were the 50 best #1 restaurant for the first time. And he had stepped away from the restaurant because he had the cookbook coming out. So he was not in the restaurant in the way that I imagine he was before when they first opened. They had been open for 6 years before that. And so he was a little unhinged when he would come in. He was he had a temper, a really bad temper, and would really be aggressive to people. But he also didn't know what was going on in the way that, like, I felt it was kind of unjustified because you're like, you just walked in. Like he would literally like show up from like a private event in Dusseldorf and be like, the fuck are you doing? And people would be like, what? This is on the menu. And he's like, no, it's not. And then it really would be on the menu. And they're like, okay, fine. Well, fuck you, whatever. I hate it. It shouldn't be. It sucks. It wouldn't be if I was here. So get out of here. And
that must have been so hard to have him like be transitioning into a real celebrity where you're losing the thing that got you there and having to let that go and juggle and be spread so thin. That must be, what a fucking lesson to hear about this now as, you know, as that's so fucking crazy.
I think it's the worst thing that can happen to them. And it's kind of like this bitter, it's this double-edged sword that comes with being successful, is that you end up being, Thomas would in a different way express similar things because he really had to step away from the restaurant, and you would see him in the private dining room with a stack of thousands of cookbooks that he would have to sign, and you'd like, they'd have like this little stage set up for him, but he would be in there isolated with a tower of books, 2 Sharpies, a glass of like bubbly water, a bottle of perfectly bubbly water in a silver coaster, and a little glass, like for him to sit there for hours and sign cookbooks. And once he had a meeting where he called this meeting, they called them like town hall meetings, and the whole staff came in, and he was like, just ask me anything about myself. Ask me something that you've wanted to know about me, because I feel so disconnected from this team. I feel like nobody knows who I am. He was like, I want to be in the huddle, and I'm out here fucking doing cookbook tours. And I feel so disconnected. And like, it was a very human moment for him because he's not that way. And he always is just like onward, and this is what I do. But he desperately missed being in the restaurant and actually cooking, because it's like once he got so successful, and what's same with Renee, you don't cook anymore. And it's a heartbreaking thing to be like, you have to trade that, and then, you know, your legacy gets written into the menu, but your actual ideas are not necessarily. It's stuff that you did before that people are kind of riffing on. So it's hard.
I have my final question, but I know it's not my turn.
Oh, okay. Thing that everyone thinks is delicious that you think is terrible and should never be served.
This is
Popular
hard for me.
menu item that you think should just never, ever be served again.
It's called, Scirocco. It's cod sperm. It's a sack of cod sperm.
What?
Is it like shad roe, kind of? Like
Kind of, but it's more jizzy. It's
Ew.
literally like jizz, and it's in a sack, and they will tempura fry it, and it's supposedly like this very like because shad roe is like kind of good. It's salty and like caviar like, and you can stir it into stuff and it tastes good. But this would be like a pocket of cod sperm fried that I just was like, I don't give a fuck who made this. This is terrible.
Oh my God.
Okay. Wow. I thought you were going to say like scampi or something.
No, I fucking love I love shrimp scampi. I'm actually like, I have a real soft spot in my heart for country
We can't
club
hear you.
food. Oh,
Did you hit your mute?
oh yeah, I did.
There you
Sorry.
go.
There we go.
I was just saying I have a soft spot in my heart for what I call country club food, like shrimp scampi, like those kind of like just dishes from the 90s that people were like, that's the thing.
Clams Casino?
Yes,
baby.
Yes.
All day.
Yes, beef Wellington. Yes, I love it all. I think it's
day.
great.
So good.
That kind of ties right into my last rapid fire question, actually, because I was trying to think of, I didn't want to say last meal because that's too dark, but like dream meal. Like if you could pick anything from the restaurants you've cooked at, to things you've made at home, to things from your childhood, to things you've never had but you know you would love. Like if the world is your oyster and that oyster is also a genie, what would your dream meal look like, coursed out or buffet style, whatever you think?
Oh my God. This is like the hardest question ever. This is, I don't know, because I'm like, I mean, dream meal, I'm going to exclude I'm just going to make my own rules with this because I'm going to exclude meals that I've had because I'm like, I don't know how to pick that. Although it
Could
would
you
be
combine?
something. Maybe
Could you
maybe,
take a little of this, a little of that, almost like a witch's brew, a pinch of this and a slurp of that? Kind of a deal?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the one that comes to mind, and maybe this is kind of how it manifests itself in my brain, but right after I had the baby, they're always like, there's a big hype about what you eat, for your first, like, what can you have after you have the baby as a celebratory meal. But I just wanted my mom's beef stew because it's so perfect, and it's not even really classically perfect. Like, there's a million other beef stews that are probably more like fancy and more steps, but hers to me just flavor wise and the symbolism and the comfort, because she's an excellent cook and we always ate dinner together every night, and she's a huge inspiration for me loving food, and she supported me when I dropped out of Berkeley School of Music and College of Charleston and all of them, and was like, I just want to do this. So her beef stew is a number one thing. One of the best things that I ever ate in my life is probably oysters and pearls. I think it's just, I had never had anything like it. I don't remember ever. It was like one of those, like, the lights come on in a way that you didn't know things could be like that. I had no experience in fine dining when I got that job, and I was like, never had caviar and never had seen molecular gastronomy. And so just the entire feeling of eating it and the way it tastes blew my fucking face off.
I don't know what oysters and pearls is.
It's a small dish of pearl tapioca sabayon. So it's all of these different textures. The oysters, it's just the bellies of the oysters, and they butter poach them. So they trim away all the skirt and everything, and it's just that little sweet belly. And they put 2 of those poached set into a sabayon of pearl tapioca, which is weird. It's like literally tapioca pudding, but with like beurre monte and chives and really, really delicious like shallot puree and white wine, and then a big fat quenelle of caviar. So it's like, when you zoom out, it's all of these different circular textures, these little orbs. Like the tapioca pearls are a certain size, the caviar is a certain size, the oysters are a certain size, and somehow in your brain, and when you eat it, it just like, it's like your mind like short circuits. Like, you're like, I can't process it. It's so good. So that that like blew my mind, just because I was instantly aware, like, I don't have any business being here, kind of. And also like, I can't believe I'm here and I'm never leaving. I want to stay forever. And then as far as places I want to eat, I don't know if you can count people who aren't alive anymore. Just anything that Julia Child would have made. I know that's so cliche, but like, she is such an idol to me. And her approach to cooking is so earnest and like heartfelt and not fussy. And so after all of that like fancy training that I have, like kind of unlearning that from a home cook, like she's really my inspiration in what I do now and how I like to feed people now, because the fact is you don't crave food from a 9-course tasting menu. You might be blown away by it, but it's not what you want to eat when you're sad. It's not something that you want to eat to feel better. And the way I like to cook now is to like make people feel good in a way that's not like I'm blowing your mind, but just like I'm taking care of you. So anything that she made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. And it feels like the anti-Instagram way of creating dishes, and that also just is so lovely to hear, because there are these shows that are happening on TV that are truly wonderful cooking shows with wonderful chefs making wonderful food, and then there are these other shows that are clearly just about like, that thing looks crazy and I can't believe that's how they made it, and that's a weird way to go with it all. So
I also think Instagram is so crazy because I have a strict rule, and it's sometimes hard because I've made food that looks good that tastes not great. It's not that it's bad or inedible, but I'm like, this wasn't really good. So I know when I look when I'm scrolling through, I'm like, a lot of this shit is just for looks. It's food. You don't get to taste it, so it can look. And that's a trick that I think is an ugly thing to do to people, because it makes them think that like all food that, you know, it's just about the way it looks, and it really is. It's only about the way it tastes. Although the presentation I think is important, but I just will never post anything if I'm not happy with the way it tastes, or if there's something that I thought could be better. I won't post it because I don't want to like lie to people.
Nice.
Yeah. And just to keep the streak alive, every single episode, until the new year is the goal. Mary Jane's sticky toffee pudding might not be the most Instagrammable thing in the world, but god damn it, if it wasn't my bite of the year. Just, it's brown on brown and so fucking delicious. So yeah, heard. And now the streak continues.
Oh my God. You should talk about that sticky toffee pudding every year for the rest of the show forever, because sticky toffee pudding is the fucking shit. And it's not easy to make. So like steaming a pudding is not fucking easy. And yours, I know it was beautiful. I just know it was.
Thank you. I knew that it was sort of like the right thing, that I'd hit it when I tasted it, and I actually felt it in my genitals. Like,
yes.
You know?
Oh yeah.
When you put that bite in your mouth and you feel it, like that warmth
contract,
sort of go through your, yep. And I was like, wow, okay.
No, I know exactly. That is the measure. That's truly orgasmic. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. I want your recipe, because I was after our talk, I haven't been able to get it out of my head. I'm like, I have to make one for Christmas for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I'm
yes.
just on that Mary Jane train.
I'll send it over.
Please do, because I have never made one. And you said your dad, right, was British, or your mom?
My dad. So yeah, we grew up with a lot of like English, steamed puddings, figgy duff at Christmas, all that. We have a Christmas goose, very traditional. And yeah, I was just craving it. And I'm so glad to have found a recipe that I like, that makes me come.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a bonus. That's like a double whammy. Awesome. Like that is the goal. If you could just come every time you eat, man, I would be eating more than I already do. And the Brits have really different dairy offerings than us, and that makes their whole game like it's not easy. I have heard, double creams and all of these different type like dairy that we just don't have access to, that makes their shit so much richer and more insane.
Oh yeah, I'm
jealous.
Lives in Henley-on-Thames, and whenever I would go visit,
Henley-on-Thames.
Henley-on-Thames,
so fancy.
Beautiful. And when I used to go visit my aunt and uncle, they had their milk delivered in glass bottles on the doorstep that the cream would rise on the top of, and they would like scoop the cream off in the mornings, and it was just like that was just how milk came to their house. It was amazing.
What are we doing wrong here? So many things are wrong in America.
Yeah.
We need double cream.
Yes.
We do. Less oat, more double.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean,
Maybe.
so many things.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, can we plug everything, because you're cool as shit?
Oh my God, you guys are so nice. You plugged me enough. My podcast is on the interwebs. It's Effin B Radio. It's EFFINB. It's a visual pun. It was a poor choice, but I'm sticking with it. Effin B Radio. And then on Instagram, it's at Effin B Radio. And then really, you can email me at fnbradio@gmail.com. But I am mostly on the gram. You can always get me in the DMs, like embarrassingly so. My husband was like, maybe you slow down so people like think that you're doing something else. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll be less available. All right, coming in too quick with the responses. Got it.
That's great.
But sometimes they're to him, so he's like, oh cool, and I'm like, thanks babe. He's like, Jesus, Lindsay, we're sitting right next to each other.
Oh, man. It is such a good grid. I just want to give quick grid props as we wrap up. It's a dynamite grid.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, truly.
Well, as it stands right now, your episode is like the most popular for the last couple months. It's gotten more listens, because I think it was so mind-blowing to people to hear about something that is, especially where a lot of listeners are here in Charleston and other places where weed isn't legal. It's it was just the education behind it. So thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and wisdom. And please, let's have a pop-up.
Yes,
Please.
let's have a pop-up.
Fucking
Now we're
love
all
to.
connected. We're all friends. We've cross-podded. Now we got a pod pop.
And when it's safe and cool to do again, we should all plan a fancy dinner somewhere that we all want to go. We could meet somewhere and go to a very, very fancy dinner. Because I
Fuck
think
yes.
that would be, I promise not to talk loud or talk to the waitress too much.
I'll bring rules. They're laminated. Don't worry. I've got a whole thing I'll pass out.
Got a
Just like
checklist
put it in
for
with
us?
the menus. It'll be like, in your menu, you'll find a little list of Mike's rules. Don't fuck it up.
I'm always fucking it up. But it's okay.
You guys are perfect.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much. This is so fucking great to hang out with you. Happy fucking holidays. Happy Christmas. Happy everything. That tree in the background is so sparkly and beautiful. Yeah.
It's got little food ornaments all over it. I've got s'mores and a cheeseburger, and I've got a plate of deviled eggs. And yeah, I'm just going to keep putting food on my tree. And happy holidays to you guys. Thank you again. This was a pleasure.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, if you want to follow us, we're at Weed and Grub on Instagram, WG at Weed and Grub. For emailing us, slide into our DMs. I don't know if you know, Lindsay, but Mary Jane gets whisk pics in our DMs every
Instead
so
of dick
often.
pics.
Yeah.
Oh, tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's ever a whisk out there that needs to be slid in, slide
Yep.
into Mary Jane's DMs with it.
Send me whisks.
And when we do this pop-up, we guarantee you will come.
Woo.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Yes. So
Okay.
what a nice little bow on that, Mike. You nailed it.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.